The love story between Harry and Chelsy Davy, the love of his life, front and center. Meghan Markle begged Prince Harry not to go to court against the Daily Mail for a reason. On a very important reason she really wanted to keep hidden. A reason that had nothing to do with freedom of the press or plan for the law. And that reason came to light in public today in a courtroom in London. The second day of Prince Harry's shocking case against the Daily Mail newspaper just began. Meghan thought the scars were healed for good. Wounds from the woman Harry used to think was his true love, his life. Meghan is still scared of the woman whose name is Chelsy Davy. A lot of personal information about the relationship between Harry and Chelsy was broken down in painful detail. They kept their secret trip plans to themselves. Meet up, the places Harry liked to spend the night. Details that are so private and open that even hardened court reporters didn't seem comfortable seeing it. Harry didn't move as his lawyer showed them off. World stage to build a relationship. Every detail, every stolen moment, every piece of music, every whispered word of trust that really shows how different Chelsy was from the woman he married. Plus, a lot of miles away in there was no doubt that Meghan Markle was watching with anger in California. Because this trial isn't just about supposed press abuse, no more wrongdoing. Music, it shows the one thing Meghan never wanted everyone to see too closely: the stark, undeniable difference between herself and the woman Harry truly loved. The moment in the building. Something felt different when Prince Harry went to the High Court for the second day of his court case. Not the same. The energy was different. Outside, a freelance reporter yelled a question that got right to the point. The center of everything. Harry, how important is it for the press to be accountable along with free speech? What's that? Harry went out. Past without ever noticing or even giving it a glance. His bald head, which was now hard to miss, caught the morning light. Light as cameras caught every view for the front pages the next day. This is music from the Times, the Guardian, the Telegraph. That set of pictures would work on all of them. They would all think about what they said. Because if you paid attention, if you looked at Harry's face very closely, you could tell that something was wrong. It wasn't just another court day. This was clearly hurting. And the day had only just started. There was an 11:06 a.m. David Sherborne, the lawyer, moved on to his last case of alleged illegal getting information. The article came out in 2010. Written by Katie Nicholl, one of these are the female reporters that Harry is suing directly. Sherborne's voice could be heard all over the courtroom as he talked about what was in the piece. Details about his private life and relationship that are very private with Chelsy Davy. Take a moment to think about that. Intimate facts, not just any detail specifics. It was mentioned in the article that Harry often visited Davy's house. It talked about what they wanted to do together. There were details about Harry's favorite places to stay the night. Sherborne stressed how sensitive it was. In his witness statement, Prince Harry says that this is very private information. Then the important claim came up. Prince Harry has strong proof that it couldn't have come from someone else. Someone other than him or Davy, and neither of them told anyone else about this. Do you understand what Harry means? That this information could only have gotten to the press through illegal means, not through friends, not royal sources, not from anyone who could have known the truth. It was all illegal hacking and bragging. Or looking over. But this is where things get tricky. The puzzle of Patrick Gibbs. Sherborne told them that the reporter Katie Nicholl said she got these private information from the former press secretary Patrick Gibbs. They were married to Prince Charles, who was living in semi-retirement on the path of white during his last year of life. Ralph S. This reasoning was laughed at by lawyers. He has no chance in hell of being able to do that. Nicholl has been given this information. Instead, they said she used illegal methods to gather information. Methods. But wait, music, is it really that unlikely? Patrick Gibbs worked for the royal family for years. His friends were friends with people who were friends with Harry. There are strange ways that information moves. Through those ring shapes. This is where Harry's case starts to get weak. As evidence of how information traveled, especially data from 20 years ago, needs more than of suspicion. There needs to be proof. And doubt, no matter how strong, is centeno in court. The piece that makes everything different. Then Sherborne changed the subject to a 2004 piece that's much harder to explain away, and it hurts the Daily Mail's case a lot more. This one had details about Harry and Chelsy's trip plans with his friends. It turned out that Harry had taken her on a private shooting trip to a lodge in Argentina, knowledge that no one else should have had but them and their close friends and family. This is where the proof starts to show up. A message sent by Heather Briley to Caroline Graham at the Daily Mail. Now, do you see what I mean, that name? Dear Caroline Graham. She is the reporter who was with Thomas Markle in the Philippines when he had a faked a heart attack. Thomas Markle is now one of her best friends. He talks about her in his social media posts, talks, and his life. One reason Harry probably hates her so much is because of this. The email said, "Have talked, just got in touch with British Airways and was offered $2 income back for a name, he's gone to look into it." Harry is afraid that she will be found out. More proof of payment. Proof that someone working for British Airways was paid to give information about passengers. Proof that Chelsy for a newspaper piece, Davy's privacy was broken. The court also saw a text from Caroline Graham to David Dinsmore, is the editor of the Mail, on Sunday right now, because he was involved in putting out new information about Thomas Markle. According to Sherborne, these emails clearly talk about the payment of information illegally obtained through British Airways through payments orging. This does harm. This is the kind of there is proof that could really tip the scales in Harry's favor. But it's also not about Meghan, it's about Chelsy Davy. And that it's more important to be different than you might think. Harry's words about his feelings. In his as a witness, Harry doesn't just tell the facts. He goes into sensitive ground. He talks about having his privacy invaded caused him stress, fear, and other mental effects. While they were together. His barrister stated that Harry will appear in court on Thursday. That's when this case could either get a lot stronger or fall apart totally. Since Harry takes that witness will be questioned by the other side. And questioning by the other side can lead to revealing mistakes, exaggerations, music, and memories that aren't true. Can Harry prove these things caused him real distress? Or will the lawyers for the Daily Mail show that he was happy for other parts of Sophie's life made public when it suited him? We're about to find out. In the Rebecca English surprise. There is one reporter that Prince Harry seems eager to hurt professionally, and that's Rebecca English, is the royal editor of the Daily Mail right now and co-hosts the Palace Only YouTube show. Yesterday, court reporters say Harry's lawyer said English got exact plane seats, route information, and when and where Chelsy Davy planned to go in December 2007. Not close enough information, specifics. In his witness statement, Prince Harry says that this is not only annoying knowledge, but there were also security risks. This is where another email shows up. It's hard to explain away this new piece of proof. Based on the information that was shown, Rebecca English is said to have paid private investigator Mike Burr £200 for this information, which included Chelsy Davy's certain spot number. Now, it's said that Rebecca English doesn't remember getting this email. But if the email there is, if the payment went through, and if the paperwork is real, then "I don't remember" might not be a good enough response. Take some time to think about this. A royal editor is said to have hired a private investigator to follow the trip plans of the prince's girlfriend, not for safety reasons and not for legal reasons, not to gather news, but for a story about a friendship. In his remarks, Prince Harry makes it clear that this was really annoying. It was really annoying that this information got out while Prince Harry was there to keep your bond private. Here is what he came to believe. It clearly shows that English was used illegally getting information. But does it really show this in a way that can't be ignored, or is Harry making a leap of logic that might not make sense when looked at more closely? The story of the makeshift breakfast holiday. One morning in 2007, there was a story about Harry's plans to take Chelsy Davy on what sources called a make or break vacation. It was hard for them to be together. It was known by everyone. They had to figure out if they could save what they had once. The same private detective, Mike Burr, sent an email to Mail staff that showed how far reporters went. "I looked into this story." He wrote that he had been spying on music from several sources and said that Chelsy Davy was one of them. On hold and then bought a ticket at the airport with cash at the last minute. After the email, it said, maybe this is their way to stay hidden. Think about that for a second. It was Chelsy Davy who paid cash at the airport to stay away from being watched. She and Harry were trying very hard to keep their privacy. Music, they were making real progress. To keep the news about their romance from getting out. Still, reporters for the Mail went to such great lengths that it was very annoying that the Duke of Sussex and Chelsy Davy did everything they could to keep their privacy. According to Sherborne, his opinion is that it is clear that the information was obtained illegally. Of course. But now is the time to stop and ask a very important question. Is this conclusion really clear? Or is it how Harry sees what happened, as the Daily Mail has already started to do, they will say that this information came from a reliable source. Sources. There were friends who talked, palace staff who leaked, and people in Harry's social group who couldn't keep a secret. Secret. The big problem that nobody wants to talk about is the difference between Chelsy and Meghan. This is what Meghan Markle does not want anyone to look too closely at her. Chelsy Davy was the very best in privacy. She didn't want to be famous. She did not tell media about their private life. She did not pose for pictures or try to get on TV shows. She could have made money off of her friendship with Harry a thousand different ways. She chose not to. Now look at Meghan Markle. Meghan told a lot of people about her private life with Harry. To Omid Scobie for getting free, and to Oprah Winfrey for that shocking interview, Netflix for their video series, and Harry himself for his book Less Spares. Meghan didn't just let personal things slip. That the world would learn about her relationship with Harry. She planned it and had control over it and made money from the song. As Harry sits in court, his voice is filled with righteous anger about how the press broke his privacy by talking to Chelsy Davy. Meghan knows what a lot of people are thinking. Were you this pumped up when you sold Netflix your privacy for millions of dollars, a dollar? This is why Meghan didn't want Harry. The injustice is so shocking. Looking into this case. What the court papers really show. Let's be clear about what these show us. Docs from court. Harry is showing 14 stories that he says were written using information that was obtained illegally about in his personal life. The first one is from 2001, when Prince Harry was picked as the grandfather of Tiggy Legabor's child. Legabor was renowned for her tact. Still, the story had private information in it and a quote that was said to be hers. Katie Nichols says she heard it from a party manager and a socialite to make sure. Harry's lawyers don't say either. All of them seem like good sources. But Harry's reasoning is wrong in this case. He has no idea where stories come from. Where they're from. He has no idea. He says things about people based on what he thinks they might or might not say. That's not proof. That's just a guess. And guesswork doesn't help win court cases. What we need to see and what the court will ask for is firm evidence that these reporters did something wrong. Emails are okay. Better records of payments. It would be best if the private detectives themselves could testify. Not having that, she said in this case. Those are the times when judges tend to side with along with the offenders. The Daily Mail fights back. It was strange how the Daily Mail responded. Instead of getting bogged down in point-by-point arguments, their head of counsel, Anthony White QC, wrapped up their opening statement quickly and clearly. That was his plan. We'll let the journalists talk about the specifics in later sessions, but for now, let me lay out our main defense, and that defense comes down to just 2 words: good sources. White told the judge, the articles don't show up. They seem to come out of nowhere and are usually the continuation of a lot of news that has already been going on. As such, these weren't scoops that were gained through illegal hacking, they were already known. The stories used knowledge that was already going around, was confirmed by several sources, and was told by White. Continued, they present a compelling pattern of legitimate sources. This is a smart legal move, since the Daily Mail can show that most of this information was available through legal routes, friends who talked, public records, and past news stories. Then Harry's case falls apart because you can't say you got false information when the information was already out in the open. Obtainable by legal means. The 3 women reporters Harry wants to, without a doubt, Prince Harry has come himself to fight what he sees as the big dogs of Fleet Street, and it's worth noting that they're all women. Katie Nichols, TV host and queen. She has been a royal reporter for many years and has had amazing access to the family. Her books have sold a lot of copies. Rebecca English is the current royal editor of the Daily Mail and co-hosts Palace. People look up to her in her work. Victoria works with top royals, especially Prince William, and keeps their relationships private. Newton, who is the editor of the newspaper Sun. She stays very close with. She's one of the most important editors in British media, and Harry is trying to get her to damaging the reputations of these 3 accomplished women writers and his tool. Accusations that they took part in. Anthony White made it clear that he was involved in illegal behavior 20 years ago. The claims are made against specific writers, not the company. He said the claims were very serious. One of the reporters would have to be lying to the court about the stories, which is not likely. Think about what White is saying. Katie Nichols and Rebecca English must be lying for Harry to be right. Victoria Newton must be telling lies, and all of the sources they've used must also be lies. Faked. Every reason they've given has to be wrong. Is that believable? Is it really likely that many respected journalists with decades of experience who need to protect their names would commit lying to defend things that were written 15 to 20 years ago? Or is it more likely that Harry only remembers some things, his theories are wrong, and his case isn't as strong as he thinks it is? White's next point was very important. Most of the pieces were written 15 to 20 years ago. Emphasized how impressive it is that the man has been able to get proof from almost all of the media who wrote these articles, even though a lot of time has passed. Though it is likely that some things have changed. Some sources have died, others have retired, and others have moved to new companies, which makes the fact that they've created so much proof even more impressive. White is talking about lawyers and says, "Look, we found almost everyone, a part of these stories from 20 years ago. The people have given us their memories, notes, and giving reasons. It says a lot about the culture of our company that we're willing and able to do this." Once more, he pushed the knife deeper. Prince Harry's case is shaky at best. White specifically accused Harry of trying to use general information about hacking at other newspapers to support his own claims. It to the Daily Mail without showing proof that the Mail did the same thing. This is a very important difference. The Daily Mail did not hack phones just because the News of the World did. People cannot be found guilty by connection. The emails that won't go away. This is where the Daily Mail as the defense faces a big problem with the texts. Yes, Rebecca English could say there's a chance that she sent an email to a private investigator about Chelsy Davy's trip plans, but she can't remember it. Exists, if it came from her account, and if payment records show that £200 was transferred to Mike Burr for that exact piece of information, then memory stops being important. What Harry has to say really does speak for itself. It's not in his beliefs or feelings or anything else. His ideas, but in emails, bills, and payment records that show otherwise. And here is the email from Caroline Graham about paying someone at British Airways for customer information. Proof. The bill that Victoria Newton sent to a private detective agency on the same day that Elizabeth Hurley she checked into the hospital to have her baby. That's proof. You can't just say "I don't remember" or "nothing else comes to mind." Something legal had to have been done to get that. If you paid a private detective, the question then is what you paid them to look into and how did they get that information. Another interesting fact is that Prince Harry isn't fighting this case by himself. Elton John, David Bowie, and 6 other people have joined him: Sheila Furnish, Sadie Frost, Doreen Lawrence, and Elizabeth Hurley. The complaints are mostly about 14 stories that came out between 2002 and 2011. The first was written by Victoria Newton in 2002 and was about the music paternity of her son Damien, who was sitting next to her. Think about Damon Hurley being in court while these private matters were being talked about. Lawyers look into how he was born, his paternity battle with Steve Bing, and the private talks he had with Motherhead during one of the hardest times of her life. And statement from Victoria Newton to another person the day Hurley went to the hospital is the same day that the investigation company TDI Falls.to give birth. The note says, Hurley pregnant. Sherborne argued, this shows that Newton is still interested in Hurley. Newton doesn't know how to explain the facts in the article. An story from September 2002 showed very, very private information about what Hurley really thinks and feels about being single as a new mom. Journalist Nicole Lampert, who still she reportedly wasn't clear about where she got the information she gave to the Mail, but payment records show that the private investigation company JJ Services was paid in 2 large chunks. Lampert in October 2002. Each payment was £170. Both were called Nicole Lambert questions. Again, the proof is there. The payments were made. The real question is what these reporters paid private detectives to do. It's not clear what happened with Elton John's birth certificate, and he was upset about the birth of his surrogate child in 2010. His son in Los Angeles. The Daily Mail wrote about the birth and got his birth certificate before they were. David Furnish and Ben Todd. Journalists David Gardner and Ben Todd said the information had been given to our reporter on the phone by the LA Register office. David Sherborne asked, is it possible that a registrar would give a reporter proof of the birth over the phone before a birth certificate was even made? If you don't know what bagging means, just say, no, it was obtained through. Journalists would call officials and say they were someone else to get information they normally wouldn't get. It is against the law, it is dishonest, and if it can be proven, it is terrible for the Daily Mail's defense. The Lady Meghan can never forget. Is like acid to Meghan Markle. Chelsy Davy was everything Meghan could never be in Harry's life. She was there before Harry became famous, before the attention became too much to handle, and before he became the angry, lonely man we see in court today is Harry's girlfriend Angela Lavin. A biographer who knew both women and watched how they interacted with Harry gave damaging information. She wasn't like being on TV, having a lot of money, sitting in the best chairs, or anything else like that. What most people don't know about Chelsy is that she didn't want attention. She just wanted Harry. That relationship did end, and the story has always been that the press getting in the way caused them to break up. Normal life was impossible because of the ongoing surveillance, but Angela Lavin told a different story. When Harry started, he left her totally alone and stopped going up to see her while he learned how to fly an airplane. He wasn't interested in seeing her for a long time because he was taking a class about animals. Chelsy was making new friends at college and wanted Harry to meet them. He said no, but Chelsy got what she wanted in the end. She had to fill out a form that asked if she was dating someone. She wrote single. She was very sad because Harry had basically left her by not caring for her. That's why she was crying in court about how, according to someone who knew both of them, the press broke up his relationship with Chelsy, changing the past. Harry ended that relationship on his own, which is why Meghan is paying such close attention. She made it clear, music, why Meghan is so scared of this trial. Any woman, Meghan doesn't like that at all. She's completely lost it, which is why I think she's starting to do all these silly dances, music. I don't think she really loves him that much, but she's telling everyone what's going on. Think about Meghan's recent behavior, the sudden surge of activity on social media, the dance videos, and the very public shows of love that almost feel like they're for show. It's all reaction, distraction, and desperation. Tries to keep control of a story that is getting away from her because this trial is doing something Meghan never expected it to do. Wanted. Music, it's making people directly compare her to Chelsy Davy, which makes Meghan look bad every single time. Chelsy was quiet. Meghan always tells the press things. Meghan has built her whole life since she became a princess around staying famous. Chelsy didn't want to be famous. Meghan hurt Harry's family relationships, while Chelsy could have made money off of her friendship with Harry. A lot of different ways, but she chose not to. Meghan made money off of that link to the tune of millions of dollars from book deals, contracts with Netflix, and contracts with Spotify. The wedding invitation that told the whole story. Angela Lavin added another interesting detail. Meghan was Harry was sure that he wanted Chelsy to come to the wedding, even though Meghan didn't like it. Wasn't interested in that, but she let him because you won't fight someone who's going to be nice. Chelsy carefully considered whether to go or not. In the end, she did. The woman left. She was nice and lovely, but then she was never seen again in Harry's life. So, he really missed out on that. But on the other hand, I think she's been saved. From what, you ask? What kind of man Harry has become? From all the lawsuits and fear, his life has been eaten by a grudge against the press. He must have been a tough guy for her to live with. Angela watched. He doesn't seem to be getting better from anything. You can see the damage. On day 2 of during the hearing, reporters watched Harry's every move and tiny expression every time he showed emotion from his seat. The Daily Telegraph ran an article with the title, "If His High Stakes." Harry was stressed out from the court case, so he didn't say much. But that's the point, right? Harry knows Meghan is looking. He knows that she will be watching every move when proof about Chelsy Davy is shown, so he keeps his cool. He stays in control, keeps his face blank, and doesn't say anything, but the price he pays for that control is written all over him in other ways. The look that everyone is talking about. Social media went crazy with people had things to say about how Harry looked at court. One post that went popular from Princess Cupcake compared photos from January 16, 2021, and January 19, 2026. Just it's been 5 years since they last saw each other. That's not getting older, it's lost out on happiness, anger, loneliness, and sorrow. No one will ever be able to convince me that Harry is happy with his life and so in love. Being happy in content doesn't make you act like this. Her advice to Harry was to call his family, gravel, say sorry, do what you need to do, but go home. But the sad ending is that I think that Bridget's wife is slowly killing him, but you get what you pay for. Angela Lavin was Harry's appearance in court was also very blunt. He looks like he sleeps on the street. He's got the bald bit and it's all over the place and not quite cut, so it blends in with his bald spot. He has some kind of lines at the front of his head. It was all cut and tidy about 6 months ago. If he's going to a hearing, he should look good, she said. It looks totally awful. It's completely trash. Fizz isn't just about looks. It has to do with what these changes in the body mean. The worry, being alone, and the cost of getting stuck in court cases for years instead of living life. What the judge said thinks deeply. Angela Lavin said something bad about how the judge in charge feels about Harry. They are fed up with Harry because he keeps coming in and out, making them crazy, and not acting in the way that you do in this kind of school. She said that the judge had once told Harry, "What you feel is that's not what will happen. That's not true, that's not how things work. Are not proof. The way you feel is not a fact. We are not in treatment here, this is a court of law." But Harry looks like not able to understand that difference. He thinks that the strength of his feelings, music, shows that what he says is true. Of what he says. It doesn't. The trend of never-ending court cases. Angela pointed out Harry has been trying to go to court for years and years, but he still doesn't understand what he needs to do. This person has spent millions of pounds, a huge amount of time, and a huge amount of mental energy on suits against the news industry. And what does he have done? Strained his ties with his family? Check. Shut himself off from public life in Britain? Check. Made it impossible for British media to hire him? Check. Actually shown a lot of illegal behavior against him, and they are still waiting. The disastrous that what has Harry done if he wins this case and the judge rules in his favor on some or all of his claims, really won? He no longer has a relationship with his dad. His brother and he no longer talk to each other. It has a terrible image in the UK. His marriage seems to be getting worse. Under the stress of all this court trouble. He will have won a fight but lost the war. The truth that Meghan is scared of, take out the legal arguments, texts, payment records, and different stories about how the media got information. What this trial really shows is much easier to understand and much worse. It's possible that Prince Harry would never have been deeply in love with Meghan Markle as he was with Chelsy Davy. The way he's trying so hard to show that the press broke up that relationship says it all. I am still not over it. He hasn't forgotten what he lost. He's still sure of that his actions did not end the most important romantic relationship in his life, outside forces did. His relationship in his life. Meghan is aware of this. Her friend Harry knows that when he talks about his privacy being broken, he's not worried about private details getting out or how the press makes everyday life hard. He's thinking about his getting along with her. He's thinking about Chelsy and the things we need to ask her. So, let me ask you straight out. Do you really think that Harry's privacy was invaded by illegally gathering information? Or do you think naturally, information got out from his social group, and now he's saying it had to have been gotten illegally? Do you believe that the Daily Mail regularly did things that were illegal, or do you think they were just being aggressive in a proper way? Are you sure Harry is going after this case for the truth and responsibility? It's possible that he's after it because he never got over losing Chelsy Davy and wants to find someone to blame? And most importantly, do you really believe Meghan Markle is in favor of this court battle? Or do you think she's scared of what it might show about Harry's feelings? We're still waiting for the proof. Here's what will decide how this case turns out. Music, can Harry show where those emails evidence of illegal behavior, not just angry reporting? Can he show that the information couldn't have been gathered from reliable sources? Does he have proof that reporters lied about where they got their information instead of or got some information from 20 years ago? Can he show real losses that go beyond "I found yourself upset"? Harry will give us some of those answers on Thursday when he goes on the stand. That's when his cross-examination is the toughest test that claims will have to go through. Lawyers for the Daily Mail will ask him about everything. Every lie, every exaggeration, and every time he said he had private will at the same time trying to get attention. They will ask him about Spare, where he freely shared private information. To do with his personal life, like his family and friends. They are going to ask him about the Netflix show where he and Meghan gave away their private lives for a lot of money. They will ask him about Oprah and stories that were passed to Omid Scobie. Think about all the times he decided to let people into his private life when it was good for him. He will also have to explain why the way the press talked about Chelsy Davy was wrong. But it was okay for him to talk about private family matters. That is what this whole case is all about, inconsistency. What will happen next? The Daily Mail has made their plan known. They're not getting caught up in Harry's emotional claims. They're showing clear proof that their reporters got their information in a legal way. Harry's group has faith in the shocking nature of those emails, the payment records, and the claims of theft and breaking the law. Watchful eyes. The judge will have to decide if there is enough proof of repeated illegal behavior or if this is just one case. A prince who wouldn't believe that people in his company talked to the press? One group will win, and one group will lose. No matter what happens, there will be appeals. But this is what will stay the same. How Harry got along with his family won't get better because of this test. This legal win won't help his public image get better. Because he showed the press was unfair to Chelsy Davy, his marriage to Meghan won't get better. And Chelsy, she has completely moved on with her life. She's glad. She's married and has kids. She has made a life for herself that has nothing to do with the royal family or Prince Harry. She doesn't need to go through this. She doesn't want this to be known, but Harry seems to need it. Wants to show himself something. has to accept that outside forces destroyed how he felt about the woman he loved. He didn't make the decisions, ignored him, or had the skills to make a list. Why did it matter? It's your turn to choose. I want to hear from you now, really want to hear from you. Do you believe that Prince Harry has a good case against the Daily Mail? Or is this a vendetta based on selective memory and beliefs that make sense at the time? Do you really think Meghan Markle is upset by this hearing letting out information about Chelsy Davy? Or do you believe she is happy in her marriage and won't do it? Do you care? Do you think that the British press did illegal things over and over again to hurt Harry? Or do you believe they did such bold reporting that Harry now wishes he had stopped when he had the chance? Last but not least, question. If Chelsy Davy had said yes and married Harry instead of Meghan, do you believe Harry would be in court today? It's possible that he would be living a very different life. Tell us what you think in the comments. Tell the truth. Describe it. When things like this happen, everyone has an what do you think? I really want to know. If this video made you think about something you hadn't before, click the like button and send it to someone who has been following this event. Sign up for updates and alerts because we're following this case every day as it happens. What's really going on with Harry, Meghan, and Chelsy, kept secret in court papers? Every time her name is brought up, Harry's face lights up with anger. Thanks for seeing. We'll see you soon.